All right. What's good, y'all? It's your boy B Phil. Back again. 117.24. Let's jump right into it. All right, so we're just going to start off from the top and look at gold. So if you recall, beginning of the week, we're looking for price to come down in this zone between $2,013 to $2,029.69. And we see that we're in the zone. Now, of course, I haven't opened a trade on a broker yet. Put this here because measurement purposes. Now, we're looking at this particular price action here. And we're just observing that price is just continuing to move down, right? Boom, come down. And we see lows, right? And we have this slight break above here. So let's go ahead and make a nice, neat little line here. So see a break above here. Now we want to see it come and retest in this area somewhere, right? On the lower time frame. So somewhere down in here. You see it comes down, it's been testing and testing and testing. Now, what we can do is we can go down to a lower time frame. And the way that I trade is we want to see a clear break to the upside before we start to take a trade here. So in all actuality, we saw it test down in here, you see it come back, you see it come back down in here. Now what we want to see is, we want to see a break, right? Something like that, right? Because we see candles low, we want to see it come back up above there, right? And when I say candles low, right, we have this candle breaking above the previous low. It's a body close, and we haven't seen a body close down lower here, and we have an idea that this might be a particular zone of interest. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and put us a line there, and let's go ahead and set an alert because it'll probably get hit today. Okay. Well, we have this webhook here. We're going to go ahead and disable it. And then we're going to go ahead and create this. Awesome. So there it is. We're going to go ahead and wait for a price to break back up here. It's on the 15-minute time frame. So if we see a nice break and close, we can go ahead and set a buy stop because it'll probably pull back a slight bit. But we're just going to go ahead and wait there. And that is gold. We're just going to continue to watch this particular move here. If it doesn't happen, that's great. If it does happen, that's great as well. So let's go ahead and go back into Bitcoin. We looked at Bitcoin a little bit yesterday, but I didn't particularly save everything. So if we look at the days, it's starting to move sideways here. But we do have this large area, right? This large area here, right? So if we have this large area here, then maybe we might see some price action coming back up. Last we saw, right, we have this really terrible looking wick. So we have this large white candle up, right? It's a body and it's breaking previous structure. And then we saw this large black candle come down and it broke that structure. So we could theoretically take this entire zone here. And this is just a start, right? Of course, we want to go ahead and refine these down as we continue down lower time frames. Right, so we see this large candle up. We finally see a breakdown here, and then we start just seeing very wicky price action. All right, we have these breaks. We don't have any breaks below here, so it's just sideways action. So this is a really ugly zone. Oh, beautiful. So when we go down to the hourly, we see that this large box here, this is actually the daily time frame, right? So this move here is this 24 candles, 84. So it's a little bit more than a day. But we see that we have a nice white candle here. And this white candle had a really large move up. Then we had a big black candle break below this like white candle. So we could refine it all the way here on the hourly and be quite patient and wait for price to come back up into here before going lower, which would mean that if we're looking to the left, do we make a case for price to come back up into here? If so, then we can probably logically say that there is some room for a small scalp to the upside, right? But again, there's really no reason to think that this isn't bullish price action. We want to go back and we want to remind ourselves that we saw some breaks, right? Saw some breaks, right here. Now we're just coming back, and this could just be a simple reaccumulation. So where's it gonna go? Nobody knows. But what we do know is we're in a kind of range here. We're pretty range bound. What we want to see, you want to see a break here, because this was the last spot that's clear to me, where if it breaks back up, then we could see it continue to move. We probably want to see this break and then continue, right? Come back, retest to continue up, and then we see what price did when he got up into that area up there. So yeah, this is really just a waiting game right now. We can go ahead and put an alert here. And that's pretty much that. We didn't look at this yesterday. Let's go ahead and look at the NASDAQ. We'll go ahead and remove all the drawings that we have there so we can start clean. Now, we look at the NASDAQ. It's broken all-time highs in December. So we're moving back up, and this is pretty clear. You see above the 200 makes it very, very clear to see that this is pretty bullish here, right? Break up above again, right? We had a slight pullback, break up above, we had a slight breakdown. Now, I wouldn't say that, of course, we're not starting to go into a bullish price action. Now, maybe, yeah, you can't really argue that at this point. And if you were looking at the charts and pure fundamentals, you look here, something like that, right? We have this candle down, which is not terribly clear, if I'm being honest, right? You probably want to use something like this, all the way down to the bottom like that. Because you see this candle here, body close, and then it's just wicky. Never body closes below this wick, right? It has this, cover it. You could argue that this is a body close below the wick, actually. And then you see it start to break up, and then you could potentially use something like this. This is the more risque. And we'd want to see price come back down into this area and then continue up. So when I say this area, on the NASDAQ, we're talking about 15,774 points to 16,103.2 points. So we'd be looking at that, and we just wait. And this is on the daily, very high time frame. When I say very high time frame, I mean clearly it's really high time frame. But if we're starting to go down lower and we're saying, okay, well, price wants to continue to cool down to reach this zone we just talked about to continue up, then we could reasonably say that, well, maybe we do some counter trend trading and we just go ahead and get some short scalps down into this area before continuing up. And we go down to the 4 hour, we're just kind of scouting around here. So we see this break and we see this large move down, right? So we have this validated. We see this large move down. We see some stops in here. Stop here, slight stop here. And we see a large move up, boom. Large move up, boom. So if we were looking, we're saying that it actually came back in here and mitigated, because it does look like it. Then we want to see these candles. So you see these coming up here, a lot of wicks, and finally large move down. You see white candles up, and now we're starting to see some breaks here. So if we're actually looking at this, you can call that a body close. We can go ahead and do something like this, right? And it looks like we want to see it tap back in a little bit more. I mean, this is kind of sketch, very sketch actually, quite iffy. Yeah, we see this up here. If we were gonna say the last ditch effort, probably wait for it to get up into here somewhere. And then if we're continuing to look down, we see down here, we could actually make the argument that we have this area here that hasn't been tapped back into, and we could look for some particular distribution in this zone to continue down. It looks like we already have a slight red day already, so it wouldn't be beyond anyone's imagination that we could see some price action to continue down. So if we continue to look on lower time frames, make a case for the continued movement down back to the zones we talked about at the beginning of this analysis, then it would make sense. So what we can go ahead and do, let's go ahead and put a alert here. Because let's just be honest, y'all, scalping is super fun. We love scalping. And we are coming up on the 10-minute mark. So let's go ahead and let's look at the Shiller index. This isn't anything in particular. This is just the index for home prices. How this index is actually calculated, I couldn't tell you. But what it looks like is, if I'm looking at chart patterns for the actual housing market, it's just for fun, right? Don't take this with a grain, just take this with a grain of salt. I mean, it looks like we're starting to have a slight bullish divergence. Excuse me, bearish divergence. Price action is making higher highs, oscillators making lower lows. So if we have a red dot print here, then at the end of this month, then maybe we could start to see some type of turnaround on the actual index. This is for all you real estate buffs out there, right? And last but certainly not least, look at some silver real quick. Silver is just moving sideways, just it's consistent, pretty consistent. Looks like if I had to range it, you have this break above here, which finally validated this particular block here. The very large block, right? You could make arguments down here that you could go ahead and shorten it to something like that, which it already looks like it tapped into down here. Break down, break up, move sideways. We finally see another break. Yeah, so we're in this particular range here, and that's the range of $21.87 to $25.90. So we're pretty much in that current range right now. We saw it tap back down into that area, and it's quite indecisive right now. So we saw this last move down, body closed. We had a large move up, so we could reasonably say that we're looking for something like that. And it looks like it's starting to tap in here just a tad bit. And it looks like we had one tap, right? And then another tap. Maybe we have a breakdown here. Maybe some bullish divergence or something on the daily. And then maybe you accumulate a little bit of silver here. You have potential for it to go $25. So I mean, about $3 differential. But maybe that's a play you look into. But anyways, lo and behold, that was the trade ideas for 117.24. Let me know what you think. Tell me what you think. Gold is going to break all-time highs. We think we're going to go ahead and get some trades going on in here. Looks like we may be in. Maybe. We see it's starting to move, but of course we had this lower time frame target here. Very low time frame. So anyways, y'all have a wonderful day, wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.